And welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stu Booth.
I'm Chad Luffman.
Right, okay, Luffers. You're he's looking a bit tan today.
And Adonis, is that what you want to say?
I was never going to say Adonis. I was just going to say, for the people at home, hopefully this week camera will work well. But yeah, Luffers has been out on the course this week, looking a bit brown.
Played two and a half rounds of golf actually.
Is that when you call it a half round because you played so bad?
No, well, if you're going to do that, then in one round of golf. No, I played Sunday in the WSO competition, which obviously, it was an individual stay preferred, some closest to the pin, longest drive, and then a team format as well, a pairs format. I think I very well, mate.
No, we'll talk a little bit more about that in the Sporting Week in a second. Right. But on today's show, we're going to be covering Arabian Gulf. We come towards the business end of the season. It's International Week. Interesting news about Aguero this week that we're going to cover. A little bit about cricket, so get your pillars ready, people. We are also going to be talking point this week about the European Championships coming up. Mm-hmm. So interested in that. And last games of the group stages for the Sporting Jibberish Radisson Red Fantasy Cup.
And you're loving that, aren't you?
Yeah, because I'm top of my group. Yeah. Why would I not be?
Qualified already, I believe.
Yes, yeah. Well, let's just save that for everybody. We'll talk about me in more detail in a minute. But let's go with Sporting Jibberish's week. Yeah. We'll start with some interesting news that is actually going to happen just after we finish this podcast. Yeah. So for us, it is currently Thursday afternoon. It's 3 o'clock, and in about an hour and 15 minutes' time, Barrichello is actually running. Weatherby, 1:15 race for the people back at home, and he's got champion jockey on board again, Hughes. So he is clear favourite. But do not back him because he never wins. He's always second place.
Barrichello, if you don't win to that, we're done. Me and you finished.
Have you seen that scene in Godfather? I'm only joking.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen.
Of course it's not.
Not going to happen. But yeah, so good luck to Barrichello in an hour and 15 minutes time. We'll tune in and hopefully see him and Hughesy straddle over the line, jump up, fall off the horse, and we'll end up finishing last.
I need to get on the bet actually. I need to get my old man on that.
We don't bet. We do not condone betting on here, by the way. That's why Matt Aldrin is this week.
Yeah, Matt's not there. We did watch the Dubai World Cup last week, talking of horses, and we went for that nice little afternoon with the lads.
Yes, we went to watch the World Cup with Matt and a few other gentlemen to celebrate Jack's ongoing 40th celebrations for the last 3 years.
Yours is still going.
Mine won't finish until the European Championships has happened, so that's the longest birthday celebration ever. But we have invented a new game.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It just came about. Matt came up with a mini suggestion, and then as the game progressed and we started to add new rules in, this game is coming soon. This is going to be bigger than Monopoly. I'm going to throw that out there now. We are going to be multi-billionaires.
I mean, basically, for those wanting to know, it involved rolling the dice and moving farmyard animals around a table in this bar with toothpicks as like spaces.
Yeah, and then every now and again there was a jump involved. If you rolled the wrong number and you got to jump, you fell.
Yeah, and it resulted in the end of it. I mean, to be fair, if Charlie was still there, if we'd allowed him, he'd been putting 50 dizzes on each race.
Yeah. Well, we decided to all chuck in 20 dirhams each for the Gold Cup last rest of the day. And Foggs is at the last one. He just needs to jump, land the other side. He's won all this money. He's rolled and he's hit the fence. He's gone down. Then I think it was Charlie straight after him went there. Yeah. Then I came along thinking this is it. I'm going to steal it. I hit the fence, and I think 4 of us went at the fence, didn't we? And then eventually, I can't remember who won it.
I actually can't remember who won it. I didn't win a race, but I don't think it was that one.
It wasn't Matt. It must have been Paul because Matt didn't win anything.
Paul, okay.
Matt still owes like 3,000
dirhams. He owes me incredible amounts. He's bought me five drinks at the golf with that, but he still didn't cover it.
Yeah. So Barrichello straight after this. Jack has also can't stick around too long because you've got a game this evening.
Yeah, so we won last week, as I think we said that we needed to win to get to what they're calling the eliminators, so second place, fifth. We won a good game actually, tight. So it was decent. So we play the eliminator tonight, 8 o'clock start.
Yeah. Oh.
And so,
but to be fair, you play better under lights.
I don't know.
Well, your batting average says you play better under lights.
But yeah, so hopefully we win, and if we win tonight, then we go and play in the semi-final on Saturday afternoon.
Which will be interesting because it's Easter brunch tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's about 45 degrees at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the moment.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely red, isn't it?
And then if we win that final next Friday, but let's not get too far. One game at a time.
That is correct. We've got to get through tonight first.
Yeah, we've got to get through tonight in so many ways, Stuart.
Yes.
So many ways.
I look forward to that. But good luck tonight, Luffers.
Thanks,
and the boys.
Go the Exiles.
Oh, there's a story behind that. And this week we had the cup final against Gulf United. It wasn't the first team; it was under 23s, but two of the boys actually played for the first team as well. It was a good game. They absolutely battered us first half. They must have hit the post, the crossbar a couple of times. We should have really been maybe 3 or 4 down at half time, and it was 1-1 at half time. Scored the worst free kick I've ever taken in my life, but hits the target, you have a chance.
You've got to hit the target.
That's right. Not long in the second half, we went 2-1 down. With about 10 minutes to go, scored a decent goal to make it 2-2. And then with about 5 minutes to go, they've gone and poached one to make it 3-2. And then with literally the last second of the game, ball's coming to me back post. I've nodded it back across the face of goal. Our centre forward, T, who's usually, well, I say centre forward like attacking midfielder, usually normally reliable, has blazed it over for 4 yards. Lost 3-2, and to be fair, no qualms about it. You know, like they were the better team on the night. Joe, you know, if I said they hit the post and crossbar and I told them about 7 times, I might be underselling them a little bit. But it was a good game, playing the right spirits. Unfortunately, one of their lads with a bit of a freak injury.
I was about to say, I saw that on the Gulf United Instagram that this lad's now out for the season, and turns out he had a tangle with Mr. Booth, is that right?
Yeah, well, if you run into a brick wall, you're only going to come off second best, aren't you? So what actually
You'll
happened...
be fighting AJ next.
Yeah, so what happened was that I went to push the ball past their centre midfield, the big lad who played for the first team, and I overcooked it a little bit, so he kind of gave up. I thought, I might still be able to get this. Anyway, the slight-framed winger decides to try and check me as the ball's going out. Obviously, I'm running at a decent... Well, I say top speed. I was running at my top speed.
Baracello's top speed.
Yeah, I was running at my top speed, 3.2 miles an hour.
Getting up there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, downhill with wind. And unfortunately, the lad stepped across me to try and kind of... And he unfortunately just bounced off me. And I don't know, because this is the strange thing was, as he hit me, he kind of like shot off to one side, and I turned around to the referee and I've gone ref, and the referee's gone to give me a free kick, and he's gone, I don't think you were going to get it. And then at that point, I've turned around and the lad's got up and he's holding his shoulder and he's in a lot of pain. So I don't know if it's when I hit him or when I hit him and he hit the floor that he's popped his shoulder, unfortunately. Just a freak injury. I've contacted the club, I've sent my best wishes. But yeah, fortunately, I think they were looking, he might have to have surgery to pop it back in. But yeah, speedy recovery, my friend. And if there's a train coming, get out of the way.
That's it. You'll live and learn.
Yeah. Right, let's go on with your cricket.
England. So I think after last week they had one decided to play in the ODI series and true to form, England sort of form in the winter over in India. They came out second best, albeit on a nice run chase to it. Well, to be fair, they should have chased what they were chasing 337 or whatever it was. England should chase that down, but they were up against it. And then what was good to see is that young Sam Curran batting at 8 became the highest ODI individual score batting at 8. He ended up 95 not out and nearly got us home. Interesting enough, in that last over, if he hadn't slipped going for they needed to get to 2, but he slipped turning around so they could only get 1, and Woody, the fellow, had committed and ended up being run out. If he managed to get to 2, it might have been even closer. But all in all, I think England have had a reasonable winter. They've not necessarily won any of the series, and I'm pretty sure that they'll be disappointed about that. But it's not an easy place to go. Historically, winning in India by any team in any format's really difficult, and they've certainly been competitive. Certainly in the white ball game, there've been some winners and losers, I guess, from a squad point of view. But all in all, I think they could be reasonably happy with the winter's performances.
Yeah, I'm just thinking back to when this all first started, and you were very much like, you criticised the fact that they were rotating the squad so much because of what's going on, and obviously wanting the bubbles and everything like that. But I think when you reflect upon it now, they've seen a fair group of players play across a couple of different formats, and then also see some potential partnerships that may have formed that they may never have seen if they'd gone with probably their set squad. So I think when you look back at it, it's been a useful job playing the friendlies, ready for the upcoming, like winter season, the Ashes, and the World Cup coming up.
I mean, Silverwood, the coach, actually said he would do it exactly the same or whatever again. And I think at times I was critical, but I could see it. I just don't, and I still would say they didn't manage it. And then there's 2 or 3 players like young Parkinson has been out there the whole tour, not played one game. So you're like, I know he's only a young lad, but you're like, surely he's a leg spinner. Surely you would have given him a game at some point, because what if Rashid goes down injured? The treatment of Moeen Ali was a bit strange, although it was already planned for him to leave the India tour Test match after 2 Test matches. Then why play him in that one? Then he goes home, then he's come back and didn't play any T20s. Yes, he played in the ODIs and he stayed on for the IPL. And obviously, although I'm not Bairstow's biggest fan in red ball cricket, but to have a good tour in Sri Lanka, send him back to the cold of England, miss the first 2 Test matches in India, and then expect him to hit the ground running again was pretty harsh. So I think the rotation policy and the idea about player welfare in the bubbles, particularly around this current time, I think clearly you have to do it. I just still feel that they could have done it better, and they probably will. They'll learn from it. But you're dead right that it's given some opportunities. It's posed them some questions. I mean, ironically, the biggest question in the 2020 format, which is their focus this year alongside Test match cricket, is the fact that at the minute England have the number 1 rated batsman in T20 cricket in David Malan, but I don't think he should be in our side.
Wow. I was just going to I was thinking then when you said about the young lad. Remember the World Cup that we took Theo Walcott to?
Yeah.
Just simply because the experience of being around the players. If they highly rate this lad and he's going to become the next best spinner that England are going to have, the experience he would have had, even though he's not played, just been around.
Yeah, and you can't buy that kind of stuff, can you? Because you would argue, and I'm sure if he was sat in there, say, well, actually, I'd rather have been touring India, speaking to Stokes and Root and Silverwood and Coleman and all these coaches than sat in. I think he might even be a Preston lad, actually.
Is he?
He's definitely a Lancashire lad, but sat in the rain in Manchester or Preston or whatever, and in the indoor schools cold, which is going to do no good for your fingers and wrist spinner. But yeah, so all in all, I think a fairly satisfying tour, but they've got to build on that. They've certainly got to win the home test match series against New Zealand and India, and they've certainly then got to build on that next winter.
So we'll keep an eye open on that.
You certainly will.
It feels like you are ready to erupt on something.
And you know why that is.
There's going to be a point at some point in this podcast you are going to just blow.
I think that's why I played golf for today.
What? Because you're so angry and tense. Right, okay, we're going to move on to Arabian Gulf League. There was no fixtures in the last week. We have literally week 23, 24, 25, 26, so 4 games left, and they actually start tomorrow. So Hatta at home to Al Dhafra. Shabab Al Ali. I went into the shop the other day and I saw this top. So I was like, oh, how much is that? The guy said something to me, I couldn't quite hear what he said, and then he was like, but it's 275 now. I was like, alright, so it's been reduced. He was like, yeah. I went, did you say it's been reduced from 280 to 275? He was like, no, 380 to 275.
For a Shabab, that's still what, 50, 60 quid?
And it's the end of the season, that's why it's been reduced. But it's a nice night top, but it looks a bit like a polo top.
Oh, yeah.
But it is their number 1 kit. The away one's green. Not a nice green.
What's a green fan?
So yeah, Shabab Al Ali versus Fujairah at home. Al Wada versus Kalba. Al Ain versus Al Nasir, which is an interesting one because Al Ain is still just floating just behind you guys. So
need to win there.
It's a big game for you guys. Al Jazeera versus Al Wasl. So Al Wasl, although not involved in the title, can have a big hand in what happens next. Kofra Khan versus Ajman, and Sharjah versus Benayas, which is definitely the fixture of the weekend.
And I noticed that Benayas' coach got Coach of the Month for March, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Because they've been a hell of a one, haven't they?
Yeah, so it's wakes for an interesting weekend because Sharjah beat Benayas. That brings them maybe a little bit too late, but yeah, Al Wasl can still get involved. If you think about it, if Sharjah win and Al Wasl win, then and those two win, and obviously Sharjah would have won. There'll only be 3 or 4 players
off. Just the top 4 or 5. Yeah.
So that would be interesting. But No Premiership games to give you, or
No.
come back to. No interview with Matt today because he's not useless. Well, he is useless,
He is useless.
but for today he's not that useless. But he is going to cover the Arsenal-Liverpool game this weekend. So the fixtures this week were international ones. I think a couple of standout results or teams to talk about. Republic of Ireland having an absolute stinker. Can't win for love nor money, and actually just drew 2-2 with Qatar. Lost 1-0 to Luxembourg.
Yeah, they've not won under the new manager. Kelly fell off there.
No, and I think they appointed Kelly while they still had the previous manager in charge, and they're literally 6 months in just went, yeah, he's going to take over. And I'm not quite sure why that decision was made, and I think it's questioned a lot of Republic of Ireland fans question over the Republic of Ireland FA because they've appointed a nobody and they're not getting anything. And I saw the interview with Seamus Coleman after the loss to Luxembourg, and he didn't call out the manager, he called out the players and just said they were in absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
But if you've got a manager there that's no experience in how are you going to turn things around, because Seamus Coleman was saying that people were playing with fear. They didn't want to come and get the ball, they were scared of coming to get it, so they were hiding. So how does an inexperienced manager get that out?
Exactly, and that's without fans in the ground as well.
Yeah.
Which often is the one place where you get the fear from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good result for Wales against the Czech Republic, that at home.
Yeah, very good result. They needed it because of the previous results. And the other big result this week was Germany won, North Macedonia 2.
Yeah, I did see Vernon's big miss. But England, good week. Obviously, when we recorded last week, they'd already beat Malta, which was a non-event.
Yeah.
I did watch the game in Albania the other night. Pretty ordinary. First half, although a good goal from Kane, good header, and then another one from Mason Mount. Who, interesting enough, did you see Southgate's quote? Because he's played in. Last night he played, so he started the last 11 internationals, and he said, "It's amazing, isn't it?" And he said, "I've been telling you this to the press. I've been telling you he's a good player. You know, that's why I've been playing him. You know, I rate him." He said exactly the same as what Frank Lampard was saying. But all of a sudden, the new man comes in. Tuchel says he's a good player, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite a good dig at the British media a little bit. And then they beat Poland last night, which I watched. Which, to be honest with you, they played really well first half, and then just started passing sideways and backwards and slowed it all down, and allowed them back in it. Yes, it was a John Stones mistake. Although I do think, and I know you're a Pope fan, but his kicking at his feet is dreadful. And I do think that if he had more confidence in him, I think he plays that back to him first half. But he did end up dispossessed and a good finish. And then actually, to be fair to Harry Maguire, Stones won a good header back stick from a corner, and Maguire's whacked it in. So 3 wins from 3. Sorry, you can't ask anything more of it. I've got a couple of stats for you in a moment. But first of all, the only thing I disagree with, I'm very impressed with Rice. I think he's developing nicely.
Irish player.
Yeah, I don't get that's enough. Yeah, that's weird, but he's ours now. But I actually like him because when he's playing well and confident, yes, he's that holding midfield man, but he actually looks to go forward. Either he can run with the ball or pass it. Calvin Phillips can't play as number 8 alongside him. He's not good enough.
No, but does he get in if you've got Henderson fit?
Who? Well, I would have
Calvin
liked
Phillips.
Well, absolutely not. And he might allow Henderson to play in that A role with, and the front 3 behind Kane, or looks like Sterling, Mount, and Foden.
Yeah, they can't work out if it's Foden or it could be Sancho.
I mean, we're embarrassment of riches, really.
Yeah.
I do think that last night's team, if Euros were tomorrow, I think that was his first choice 11. Although I think he would play Pickford above Pope.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, one more.
It's stats, here we go.
You know I love Harry Kane's stats. I got 2 for last night. One, which lots of people know out there, because it was on commentary, that he scored, obviously from the penalty spot last night.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, Matt don't care. So he now has scored the most penalties for England ever, 10 above Frank Lampard.
Okay.
The other thing he did last night was he joined Frank Lampard and Wayne Rooney in another interesting stat. What do you think that'd be? So he's the 3rd player to do this for England.
Goals in qualification or something?
No, not a bad effort. He's now scored on every day of the week for England, just as Lampard and Rooney had.
Mane has that for the Premiership, doesn't he?
Does he?
I think, because I remember this coming up because Liverpool, they moved again to a Friday night and he scored in the night.
Yeah.
Mane has now scored.
But how bizarre that up until last night he hadn't scored on a Wednesday, which traditionally that's when England matches always were, weren't they?
Who on earth writes these stats down?
Brilliant.
It's just like
Brilliant.
the worst ever. Anyway,
I knew you like that.
moving on. We'll just quickly cover this because I found this interesting, bits of information. So, The Guardian have published, I think it was The Guardian. Yeah, The Guardian have published the fixtures, the remaining fixtures, the difficulty ratings for the
Premiership.
Yeah. So, out of all the remaining games, Brighton have the hardest opponents to play in the last set of fixtures by an absolute country mile. So I'll show you this graph here. So you've got Brighton down at the bottom. So Brighton's rating is severely high in comparison to others.
How have they worked that out though?
I don't know how. It says the average team ratings of opponents when playing at home and away accordingly. So they must give them a rating of how well they've done fixtures home and away.
Current form or form over?
It must be this season.
This season.
It must be this season. So yeah, unfortunately, Brighton rating of teams they're going to be playing is 6.782. I'm not sure what the 6 means with regards to. I don't know if that's the amount of fixtures left. Is it?
No,
potentially.
Excuse me.
But according to this, Liverpool and Wolves have got the easiest run-in to finish the season off. Liverpool's is 6.653. I know I'm shouting numbers at you and it probably won't make a difference, but what I will do is I will publish this with a podcast so you can have a look. And Wolves' average rating is 6.641. So it's quite significant. It's like over 100 points difference between that and Brighton. And then the other team that has a significantly hard finish is Manchester United. So out of the top group of teams that you'd probably say from Everton upwards that potentially could finish in the top four. Everton's is not too bad. Liverpool's is easy. Spurs and West Ham's is probably below average.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea's, Leicester, Leicester and Man City's are about the same, and United's is slightly higher than theirs.
Go on then. Before we play any more football, who's your top four?
Well, according to this, if it went off this form, you'd say City are too far ahead to be caught. According to this, you then go, because United have got the points already in the bag, you'd have to say that they're probably guaranteed the top four. But then Leicester, Chelsea need to be worried because West Ham, Spurs and Liverpool have got the easier running by a substantial amount according to this graph.
I think if I was to pick a top four even before looking at it, I think you're right. City, we know they're going to win that. I'd love Man United to fall at the final level, but I don't think they will. I think they've, like you said, points in the bag. I think they're all right. I think this year Leicester will be okay. I think there's only one spot up, and I have a sneaking feeling that it might be you like Liverpool. I have a sneaking feeling. I hope I'm wrong. Of course, I want Spurs to do it because I think if Spurs don't get Champions League football, the implications around Harry Kane and maybe even Son people is massive. But I have a sneaking feeling.
I tell you what, if the season was to end in any particular way, it would be Man City first. Let's go Leicester second, Chelsea third, United fourth, Liverpool fifth, and we win the Champions League. That means United won't qualify.
Well, that would be good as well, wouldn't it?
That would be an ultimate way to finish the season.
That would be good.
That would be pretty cool. But yeah, I'll post this up there and you can have a little look. But yeah, according to this, West Ham, Spurs and Liverpool should still be within a sniff of that fourth spot.
I think they will. I think Spurs and Liverpool will. I do. I've said that before. I'm not saying that either will necessarily get there.
Leeds should have an easier run-in in the last few games to finish that top 10 spot now. At the beginning of the season, it really started off top 4, and then when a coffee came on it, they went to top 6. They ended up being top 10. So his confidence.
Just keep changing it, mate. It's okay.
It waned every minute.
What about Aguero?
Yes.
What do you think about
that? Aguero has now said he's leaving, so that's the end of the Man City legend Aguero. And just to throw it in the mix, the stories today are United are offering him a contract.
Wouldn't be the first time people switch between
but it's never usually City to United though, is it? It's usually the other way around.
But that's when Man United have been the top side. Now City the top side of Manchester.
I don't know if Aguero would do that.
I don't know. I don't know where he'll go. All I would say, 2 things. I think he's absolutely class. I always have done. You can't argue with that. And people, I know it's difficult to pinpoint whether, and you always have your favourite about who's the best foreign import and all that kind of stuff, but he has to be up there. with Thierry Henry. Surely has to be up there.
For just being a natural goal scorer and just popping up, the guy was different class. You never really see him picking the ball up outside the width of the 6-yard box. And they say that's like a sign of a really good striker. Thierry Henry was more of an adapted winger to a striker, so he had this ability to ghost in from wings and come in and score some absolute worldly goals. But yeah, Aguero, you never see him really outside that width of that area. And when it comes down to scoring big goals, he'd be
there's
there.
no bigger than that. It's iconic.
Last second of the game against QPR.
Iconic. But
he could have gone down for a penalty then as well.
Yeah, could have. My point is, and I know people will say, yeah, look, he's had injuries issues. That's 2 years of his age, and I appreciate all that. But Man City must have a replacement lined up to let him go this early. They must do, because they know by announcing now, that means that somebody else is going to take him on. Whoever that might be, whether it's Man United, who's only been in the Premiership.
Could end up going back to Spain.
Yeah, back to Spain. Will he go back to Argentina? Will he go to America? Anything like that. But they must have somebody, and I'll never say that, they must have somebody lined up.
Well, the story is, Jack, I've just heard a story, is that they're lined up to take Messi and Haaland.
Both of them.
Yeah. And let's be honest, in the Premiership, I think there's a few teams who could have followed Haaland.
Yeah.
Liverpool, City, United, Chelsea would be your 4 teams that you would think could afford that. The only other one, which is obviously a detriment to your team, is that if you don't make Champions League, is City could come in for Kane.
Yeah, I think that's the only place he would go, because I think at the minute it's the only team that could potentially afford him in the current market and the current pandemic and things like that. But whoever it is, they must have somebody lined up, because they cannot let somebody like that go. Injury list of the last couple of years, age, take that out of it. He's still a proven goal scorer at this level. They're not letting him go this early in the sort of way before the window or whatever, if they've not got somebody lined up.
Oh, they definitely have somebody lined up. Anybody tells you that the deals are only done last minute are absolute lies. And everybody's tapped up. Everybody knows what's going on before it even happens. So yeah, watch this space. But yeah, I think Aguero,
legend of the Premier League.
Aguero, I think for him would be good for him just to leave the Premiership.
I think so.
And maybe head home or back to Spain. See, like sunny climates, get a little bit more game time out. Atletico are common to bring previous players back into the fold. And then for City, I think it'll either be Haaland or Kane.
Yeah, I agree.
They're the two that they'll go for. Right, Rebecca Welsh.
Yeah, so history. We had last week or 2 weeks ago the news about Sarah Taylor taking over as a full-time cricket coach within the men's sections of wicketkeeper coach at Sussex, and breaking news or breaking yet more boundaries is Rebecca Welch. I think she's 38, I think I read, and she will become the first ever female referee in the Football League when she takes charge of Harrogate Town versus Port Vale in League 2 on Monday afternoon. And I think it's brilliant. I read an article about it saying it doesn't matter what gender you are and what gender are playing the sport, you're the person in the middle or the person in the black or whatever sport you're refereeing or umpiring. It doesn't matter, and I 100% agree with it. There's a lady, isn't there, who's umpiring, who is refereeing in the Champions League now.
Yes.
I think is she German? I can't think of her name. But so that's really good, and fair play to the FA and the the PGMOL or whatever for backing her, and I hope that she goes well on Monday afternoon. Yeah, well, she follows, doesn't she? Because there was Sean Massey that started out with a liner, which has never progressed to be in the middle. No. So good news for females out there, and hopefully, again, as we've always encouraged, is that it's something that other people can look up to and then potentially think there's a pathway there, there's a legitimate pathway, because if you're good enough, we say this all the time, why not? Why should you not be in the middle? Exactly. And interesting to that, actually playing golf with Larks, he was saying that Chris Robshaw, the former, I think, Harlequins in England captain, he's going to become a rugby referee. Wow. And I said, will that fast track? He said, he'll fast track to a degree, as in he'll probably referee quicker in the league, like the league's the Championship, one, but in the pyramid, like the level that Larks played at, to get him into the Premiership quicker, if he's good enough. Yeah, I think that there's no issue with that, because I've come across referees before that have done that, Preston Pro,
and he was fast tracked. He did top division on the Sunday morning. I know when he says Sunday morning, people go, oh, but to be fair, the Preston standard on a Sunday morning had a lot of semi-professional players in, so it was a good standard. And he did a few, like half a season in that, and then he fast tracked into the North West Counties, then moved up. He's never made it, as far as I know, into the top level. No. But again, I think when you get fast tracked to a certain point, you need to then earn your call. You can't just go for your name. So I completely agree with that route for people.
Definitely, they've done a lot of it in cricket. There's a lot of past players who have certainly gone on to like the professional outfit here in the UK, and then some have gone on. Goff and Saka's have gone on to the ICC Elite panel. I think Goff's probably the best umpire in the world at the moment, and he played Yorkshire, Durham, played first class cricket. Actually, at one point, he probably would have played England under 19s, maybe even played for some England A stuff, but was predicted at one point to could make it absolutely big time, and didn't. And I think he decided that instead of bumming around being a county pro, and it's not worth that much money. Let me retrain and fair play to him, because like I said, I think he's probably the best in the world at the minute.
Good stuff, right? Okay, we're going to go. Well, even though Jack did divert onto cricket as per normal, we're going to go back onto football. And talking point this week is England's chances of lifting the European Championships this summer.
So, are we talking chances, or could they win it? Is that the question, or will they win it?
I think. Do you think they will win it?
I'm going to put my nose out there. Stick my neck out, stick my nose out.
You're going to put it how much further does it need to be out?
I'm going to say yes.
Another deluded English fan.
I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to back the boys. I think because, and I say this in the hope that Gareth, you listen to me, that in the hope that you mentioned it earlier about that he backs the fact that in the front attacking third, we've probably got an embarrassment which is as good as, or as many as, let's say, Belgium who are all there in that front third. He's got to get the combinations right, and he's got to make sure that he picks the people on form. But I think if he backs that, all right, and doesn't worry necessarily about how many we could see that in, which score goals there, we've got every chance of going out and winning it. I think he's got to make sure he keeps Stones fit and in form if he can, because I think he's crucial at the back. I know he made a mistake last night, but that happens. I'm not a huge Maguire fan, but I think that's the partnership.
I agree with you there. I think they're the best two.
I think if we're going to go to two,
currently best two.
Yeah, I think over what it is now, I think Walker still, for me, I think I'd choose him as the right back because of his powers of recovery.
Yeah, I think if Maguire was injured, Walker could come into the centre.
Yeah. And left back, I thought Chilwell last night was pretty ordinary, quite frankly.
Did you go sure?
I don't know. I mean, he laid on the goal for Kane in the week. Probably. I don't know. I mean, there's talk that if they played three, that young Saka could play as a left wing back from Arsenal, but obviously he's been injured. So there's so many combinations. Okay, probably deluded, and I'm hoping. But can England win it? Will they win it? Whichever way you want to deflect. I think we can. If it was played tomorrow, we'd have as good a chance as anybody else.
Okay.
You don't think so, do you?
No, not by near. I think the problem with English fans is we get a little bit caught up in the moment and we think our team's a little bit better than what we're talking about. So you talk about your front three, there's no doubt that there's quality there with Sterling, Kane, Foden or Sancho, whichever combination you go with. But then you mentioned Belgium there, and I wasn't even thinking Belgium in my head. No. So you've got the likes of De Bruyne, who by far is superior than any of our midfielders
100%,
that would pick a pass that none of our players would even see, never mind produce. So you've got the quality of him. Hazard's been off the ball completely. Lukaku's not. He's on fire. So you've got a big, horrible centre forward there that's going to bulldoze through, and you've got balls being fed through to him. Plus the technical ability around him. So Tielemans, nobody really talks about him, but he's such a nice, tidy little player. And then they've got a decent back line. They've got a top-rated quality keeper, which England don't have at the moment because they can't work out who the best one is. That's just Belgium. Then we not even talk about France. And France is
they're scary, their squad though.
But I don't even think they're the best ones. I think Portugal are the ones that you need to look out for. If you talk about front three, can you name, and you convert that, let's just imagine we put Bruno Fernandes in that Mason Mount role. That's a better player. You go out on the left-hand side, you'd argue that Jota's in better form than Sterling at the moment.
Yeah, because Sterling last night was in and out. Won the penalty, but he was in and out last night.
And then you've got Ronaldo versus Kane.
Yeah.
And then we've got to go and find, you could sit Bernardo Silva out on the right side.
Think it's and then, let's not forget, they are the reigning champions.
Yeah. And then, to be fair, Pepe at the back, even though he's still going, he's having a good season. So, for me, I can't see any further than Portugal-France final. And no matter how bad Germany have been in this World Cup qualifiers, they will turn up. And even though Law has not picked Hummels or Thomas Muller for these qualifying games, he said he has not ruled out picking them for the European Championships.
It's the other one when it comes to tournament football.
Yeah.
They suddenly...
So you changed your mind now?
No. That's how we could do it. I do agree with you though, and I know we just said before off air that Declan Rice for me has been really impressive in that role, and yet Henderson could, but neither of them have got any creativity like De Bruyne or Tielemans or anything like. We know, and that's where maybe could Southgate be brave, and instead of saying, is it Foden or Rashford, is it Sancho or Foden, whatever, could he not play one of those alongside Rice or alongside Henderson and be brave, because that's what we lacked last night a little bit, is creativity in and around.
I completely get the brave element, but when it gets to knockout football, there's an element of being too brave and leaving yourself open at the back, and England are going to be open anyway because defensively we are not strong.
Yeah. And that's the point. It's not like you are with Germany. Germany will go through and then they'll just try and nick games on them.
That's it.
They can defend.
To be like an Arsenal of old, 1-0.
We can't defend. So for me, the best form of defence is attack. Because like I said, we're going to be open anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see.
So I'm going to say England will do well. An achievement for England this year will be semis. That's as far as I can see them getting. And that's an achievement. I'm realistically saying quarters. But I think it's going to be between Portugal, France.
The best to have a coffee on it.
Yeah, let's see. Right, moving on. Actually, guys, let's give us a shout out on social media. Where are England going to finish? Are they going to qualify the groups? Remember that year where we beat Germany in the first group game, and we thought this is it. We're going to go and qualify. I think we lost the next one, and then we lost to Romania. Yeah. Germany were the worst team in the tournament. We were the second worst team in the tournament. We finished third and didn't qualify out of our group.
Yeah.
She played from that game.
Yeah, is that when Phil Neville gave away the penalty left back?
Yeah, 96. No, it would have been 96,
2000. Euro 2000.
Was it Euro 2000?
Yeah.
Wow, was it later on? Wow, yeah. I'm trying to picture back if I was drinking or not. 92. No, I was 12. Mum, I was not drinking at 12 years old. 13 and a half. No, yeah, she caught me out the other week as well. She's like, I knew you would get me for Mother's Day. I did not actually. I listened to it all. I was like, no.
Well, talking of mums and parents, our best
you almost forgot then, didn't you?
Best shout out, mum and dad. Happy wedding anniversary today, so Thursday, the 1st of April. They got married on.
Oh my goodness, Shrek, good lad. I'm surprised he turned up.
Yeah, well, he did say that he could have got longer. He would have been out of prison by now. Right. But hey ho. But no, that's 43 blissful years of marriage.
Shrek, more importantly, Shrek, 43 not out.
There you go.
Nice. Do Jack with sheath. Right, on to fancy football. Right, okay, so it's the last group stages, last group games. FC 20 Bentons in the top group have qualified. They are through. Desert Dons have qualified. I actually get second place. If I finish top of our group, which it looks likely, is I play second place. So I could play Paddy Finding Timo, who's currently in second place. It's all about Frank has qualified, Mad Mitch has qualified, Two Girls One Schlupp has qualified. This group is a little bit more interesting. There is nobody qualified in Group F. Wales, Gulf, Madrid,
come on, Pascal.
Derby County, Dad Bod, and even Redmen could still qualify if they win the last game and results go their way. So quite interesting. That was the one you actually originally called Group of Death.
I did, yeah.
In what I consider Group of Death, which is my group, I'm currently top. FC Gaza Strip play Shomi Damani against each other this weekend, and I play Jason Smith, who's not won a game yet. So thankfully I've qualified. And then the real Group of Death, looking at the fixtures, is Group H, Did Not Get an Agenda, Victory Biscuit, FPL George, and Going El Loco, who actually keeps picking up points. Have all won one, lost one. So
that's interesting, isn't it?
All on 3 points each going into this weekend.
Just tell everybody what you did last week.
So we went out. What did
Saturday, didn't we?
Did we go? No, it wasn't. It was Friday. We went out. I went out on brunch on Friday.
Oh,
for
yeah,
Jay's birthday.
Yeah, That's
And I got up on Saturday morning and I was trying to get myself together and I realised I was going out for Jack's birthday. And I panicked thinking, oh my goodness, it's Premier League day today, Saturday. And I made a whole load of changes and moved my team around. And then realised as I was in the car that I'd used subs that I shouldn't have used.
So it's a good job you've qualified already.
Yeah, ready for this week. So hopefully Minamino's going to have an absolute storm this weekend because I brought him in.
And they're playing Man City.
Yes, no, they're not. I'm agreeing with you, but they're not. But yes, that concludes another one. Hopefully, we've tried out a new camera today. So hopefully it looks a lot better quality. And we will have Matt back in and we might even try and tease Larkin back in for a little bit before because we
My nose is burning, hey?
I'm surprised.
And I've got like one hand is white and one hand isn't because that's the hand that I play.
I tell you what, at this point, what do
we know?